Urban Revolution Radio's your morning show with your boy Nino and your man D Hicks, broadcasting live from the Acceptance Insurance Studios over there at 3012 Covert Avenue. Give them a call at 812-477-1772 or visit them online at acceptanceinsurance.com. Ask for Miss Amy Ross over there and her staff over there on the Covert Avenue location. Tell them Nino sent you. They'll take care of you for all your insurance needs: home, life, auto, renters, business, SR22, certificates of compliance, anything to keep you straight and keep you safe out there on the road. And Miss Amy Ross and her staff over there at Acceptance, they can help you out with that. Got a great show lined up for you. Still Black History Month. This month we got the NAACP History in the Making talent competition coming up over there at the the Old National Events Plaza. Coming up February the 26th. I got 10 great acts that are going to be out there. They're vying for $1,000. And I think it's some other prizes, too, lesser prizes other than the $1,000. I don't know how they divvying it up, but we'll see, where it goes. But it's all about the exposure, being able to see all the talent that's out here in the tri-state, because there's been such a lack of venues for people to actually just go out and have some fun, let alone to be able to make some money doing it. So come on out and support February the 26th at the NAACP History in the Making 18 and over talent competition out there at the Old National Events Plaza. Still Black History Month. We were talking about 22 Black History facts that should be celebrated all year long. And this is according to, countryliving.com. Because we was talking about Kanye West he wants to change Black History Month to Black Future Month. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of lesser known people that should be more well known that have made contributions to not only just Black history, just to American history and American society as a whole, in science, entertainment, math, sports.
The old saying goes, nobody love it till you dead.
But we should start celebrating them before they die, like we were talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's one of the premier brains on the planet, but he brings it in such a way that's so down to earth that you can relate to. I follow his YouTube podcast, him and what's the comedian name that he does the podcast with? I can't think of it right now, but he does has a comedian sidekick while he's trying to deliver the science facts and all that good stuff. So I think we should look forward to the future and celebrate those that are making contributions now as well. But we can't forget those that laid the foundation, especially the lesser known people who really don't get the support and credit
as they should now.
You know what I mean? So we're going to try to do that. And I say this is according to the countryliving.com, and say February may be Black History Month, but the contributions and legacy of a Black American should be celebrated all year round. It's a part of the history. Part of Black History Month is also educating yourself, and you should want to brush up on the parts of African American history that you might not have learned about in school, and these are some of the facts you probably didn't know about. We're going to start in 1878. Legendary soprano Marie Salika Williams became the first Black musician to sing at the White House. After she performed for President Rutherford B. Hayes and First Lady Lucy Webb Hayes in the green room. Now you got to think,
being a Black person,
what the time.
But hell, we built it.
Yeah.
So we all did do something. You feel me, man?
Yeah, but she was the first one to be invited, and I'm not gonna say paid, but I would hope that she got paid for doing it, because Beyonce and them. Do they get paid for singing at the White House? She did Barack Obama's them.
I think really publicity,
just like the Super Bowl.
Resume, like the Super Bowl, they had to fund that for themselves.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
Because it will be a privilege in itself just to sing at the White House. You're guaranteed an audience. So it's not like nobody's gonna tune in. So, but it was a Washington Post article back in 1878 that was talking about it, and listen to how they described it. It's a last evening by appointment, Madame, spelled Madame, Madame Salika, the wonderful colored prima donna.
But you feel I'm coming from, man?
This is complimentary. This is
Right,
it back in
complimentary.
1878. This is how they were giving black people
Right, how they were now they
compliments.
were giving us count the color. Come on, Craig.
Wonderful colored prima donna called at the White House, accompanied by Frederick Douglass. You know what I mean? He was the black abolitionist that was one of the first black people to be accepted as an advisor
Mhm.
to the president, one of the presidents in the White House.
But
They
this
say,
is even in D.C. at the time when they wrote this post,
right, right,
where the White House is and
yeah.
how they described
I
us.
know, I know. And this is being nice.
Right, you feel me? Come
Say,
on, man.
after a few moments of conversation and rest, the Madame sang staccato polka from the Richard Mullard, Verdi's Ermani Involve Me. I know I chopped
Never
them
heard it
names up.
all.
You know, more probably some
Never heard of it.
operatic kind of
Right, opera
songs,
stop song.
you
Right.
throwing the chops off. You said from and Thomas More's The Last Rose of Summer and Ave Maria. I know that from by Harrison Miller and Mr. Williams baritone by request
Hmm.
sang Far Away by Bliss. And I say this is a Washington Post article posted in 1878 talking about Madame Salika Williams' performance. She was like the modern day Beyonce,
The colored.
the colored, the wonderful colored, the colored prima donna. It's a
Oh, wow.
several pieces showed to great advantage the remarkable power, sweetness, and versatility of Madame's voice and accomplishments. The staccato polka, especially proving her worthy of her title as Queen of Staccato. So I guess she more of Aretha Franklin versus
Right,
Beyonce.
then a
That they
Beyonce. She
gave
was
her some.
Aretha
She
back
was
in the
one of the
day.
first ones to be called a queen or something.
Right, so,
So I guess with Queen of Staccato, you take it. She was
right.
singing those operatic kind of songs, but the first black woman
To
to
perform
ever
at the White
black,
House.
ever perform at the White
Mm.
House by request
Didn't he know that?
of the president. Say the singers were afterwards warmly congratulated by the president and Mrs. Hayes, and they were heartily applauded. Say Marie Salika Williams was born in Natchez, Mississippi.
Wow.
I think that's ain't that where Nas's daddy said his daddy was born?
Not exactly sure.
Well, it was like remember that song he did with his
Yeah, with his
dad on the
dad and
song. He
yeah.
said, "I was born in Mississippi." I think we said it was Natchez,
Okay.
Mississippi. He said shortly after her birth, Salika's family moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, where as a child she began to study music. And thanks to the patronage of a wealthy local benefactor, while still in her early 20s, Salika moved to San Francisco, California, to study with Senora G. Bianchi, under whose tutelage she made her debut as a concert soprano in 1876. And so,
Mm.
sometime before 1878, she met and married another artist, a bass baritone singer named Samson Williams, whose stage name was Senor Velasco, the Hawaiian tenor.
Oh
The Hawaiian tennis. And the years
the
following her
Hawaiian
performance,
tenor.
yeah,
Oh,
man,
man, he's
calling
groovy,
people
boy.
about a race and all that stuff, I mean,
Right,
we got to get out of 2021,
right,
2022
man. Right,
common era
right,
thinking,
right.
I mean, you can get away with saying a whole bunch of stuff, calling people a whole bunch of stuff that
Yeah,
you really frowned upon.
yeah, I hear
People
you,
say it out the
man.
side of their mouth, like you heard your boy Joe Rogan then got in trouble with using
Yeah,
the
using the
then word,
word.
and this
Yeah,
thing, and
man.
somebody said somebody to put a compilation of him saying outlandish stuff together to try to,
Wow.
say. But I'm like, for real though, this is Joe Rogan, a comedian. If y'all really trying to, I think
And I know what he's about.
India Irie said that she's
She
gonna
pulled her music from Spotify as well too.
dude, look, any
All them
art.
pro
Look, let me get
tools.
off on a tangent right now. I know we was talking about Black History Month right now and all that good stuff, Joe. But man, any artist that's gonna threaten to take their music off of any platform because some other artist is on it, you just not getting enough reviews anyway, and you just trying to start up some, get your attention, get some attention somewhere by piggybacking off somebody's controversy. Because she's supposed to be, India Arie is supposed to be moving her stuff to another platform. She said
Mm.
she's going to create another platform for other artists.
She promoting that herself.
You know what I mean? And that's
Just get followers to follow her to her
exactly. So
platform, right?
this is I think this is just a publicity stunt. I'm
Okay.
going to take my music off Spotify and all that. Because I mean, look, if you getting paid off Spotify, it don't matter what Joe Rogan doing.
I
You
hear you.
understand what I'm
I'm gonna
saying?
pay regardless.
People got to click in to Joe Rogan to listen to him. You know what I mean? It's not like, he's standing out with a
Right.
microphone, megaphone, giving it to the kids and all that kind of stuff going to. He's a comedian with his own podcast, and a lot of people got to pay subscriptions to listen
Right
to.
to listen
And he
to it
says
anyway.
outrageous ignorant. He calls himself the shaved ape. You know what I mean?
Wow.
He's a comedian and a UFC announcer. So if anybody's trying to take anything he says as like politically heavy or sensitive or worth quitting your job over or making a stand, come on now, you giving Joe Rogan way too much credit, way too much power on this one, dude. You got to lighten up on this one, especially
Like I
since.
always said, player, it's the sensitivity of this generation.
Dude, it's so the sensitivity factor is on
Mhm.
12 right now. You
Yeah, the
can't say
sensitivity of
nothing.
this generation can
Man,
say
like we was
nothing.
going back into the
The
1878,
color generation.
the colored prima donna, and that was a
Yeah, you know what I'm
compliment.
saying? Right, that was a
You couldn't get
compliment,
a, and
right.
it's like people got to remember, and just I guess like we said before, some people need to remember you don't have to make a stand and fight over everything. Every
Right.
bandwagon don't need to be jumped on, especially with this cancer. Cause leave Joe Rogan alone. You know what I mean? Like I
You
said,
said leave
I've,
him alone.
I've listened to his podcast a couple times, you know what I mean?
Right.
Especially when he started, we was talking about taking the horse tranquilizer thing and all that
Yeah,
kind of other stuff.
man.
I'm
Hey, come
like,
on,
dude,
Fred.
if that's what you want to do,
That's your business. It's your body.
and anybody
It's
wasn't
all
dumb enough to
good.
want to follow him to do that,
You a damn
be the
fool.
lemming and jump right on off
I
with
hear
him. You know
you.
what I mean? I'm not about to do it.
They
And I'm
good.
about to laugh at you while you doing it. Look like,
I hear
you
you.
know what I mean? Like, come
Right.
on, dude. But for real, though, all this trying to jump off of Spotify because of Joe Rogan. Nah, y'all need to quit that. It's just a publicity stunt that
Mhm.
people trying to use. They not getting the Spotify views that they want to
For
anymore.
the,
So
for
they
the
gonna try to
streams,
say, "Oh, I'm
right.
going over to this platform now," and all this kind of stuff, try to promote, and that's what it's all about. Just trying to
Right.
piggyback. So it's kind of fake, But we got real ones like Salika Williams back in the day that
Right.
did her White House performance. First, baby, you got to imagine how scared she was. Can you
No,
imagine?
she wasn't scared.
Man, you don't think that was a nerve being the first one? Because there's some people in that audience that did not want her there. Believe that. This was not a house full of just welcoming people. You had a bunch of
Can't be
the
scared of something
presidential
we built.
supporters, giving her
Can't be
applause.
scared of something we built.
I mean, I'm not. I ain't scared of the building. I'm talking about the people in it.
No, she wasn't
Catch her
scared.
when she come outside and mad at it and all. It's a brave thing. That was a brave
It was
thing.
accepted. It was accepted there in D.C. then, wasn't it?
I mean, this is after the
After
Emancipation
she,
Proclamation. Everybody
right.
around then
So
knew it.
around
The
that
North
way,
was
knew.
less acceptant of slavery
Right,
than the
right,
South was
right. So it was
anyway.
probably
But you
accepted,
still had
right?
representatives in that White House, in the Congress, that were
Yeah,
from the South, that
probably
represented,
so.
that did
Yeah.
not want her there. How dare they have this Negro in the, you know what I mean? There's a whole bunch of grumble mumbles in there. I guarantee it. Well, you know what I mean? So these are one of the lesser known facts that we got to remember, like lesser
Right.
known stepping stones that black people have had
Mhm.
to accomplish over the hundreds of years that we've had to been held down and
And still
denied. And
oppressed.
you know what I mean? And
You hear me?
before we can
You
move in the
hear me
future,
though?
yeah, we still oppressed. They still
Yeah,
stepping
man, they
on
still
our necks.
stepping on our neck,
You know
bro.
what I mean? But at least we got a little bit of power to push back up now.
Right.
But it's still a fight. The fight is nowhere near over. Equality is always going to be somebody trying to have more than what they deserve, whether
Mhm.
it's more money, more political power, more supplies in the apocalypse, whatever, whatever kind of. There's always going to be somebody that's going to be greedy and try to do it by holding somebody else down. And we as black people here in America are
Mhm.
still in a fight. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To try to get that. The fact that we
The
still have
equal
to talk
voting. We're
about
still fighting
equality
about
being a
equality
factor.
now in voting.
You know,
Still in 2022,
you know,
we're talking about equality in voting.
So like I said, the fact that we still talking about it the way we talking about it lets us know we have a long way to go when
Right.
it comes to
Mhm.
people and equal rights across the board. Now we're not talking about everybody having the same thing, everybody
Right. No,
being
no, no,
rich,
no, no.
everybody. No, we
No,
talking
but
about the opportunity to have that pursuit of happiness. Don't stand in my way to prevent me from feeding my family. Now, if my idea don't work, and it's just not a good one, I got to try to, hey, that's on me.
right.
I had the opportunity. I applied for the same loans, the same grants and business opportunities.
Right.
No, it's not, I don't want to be denied because of something I could not help. whether it be my sexuality, whether if it be my color, whether if it be
Right.
where I was born, whether any I couldn't help none of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So don't you can't hold that against me. We still have people in places. There's still commercials out here that are still fighting for housing
Yeah.
rights. We
You're
still
right.
fighting for equal housing. We got a black housing and urban development director now in the White House that's still trying to get that Build Back Better plan for Joe Biden's equal housing
Right.
thing going in. Because I got a little bit of that mortgage help back in the day,
Okay.
last year. So
Okay. Cool.
it's handy, but it's just so many hoops that you got to jump through.
Anything government, you gotta jump through a hoop.
Man, there's
It
the
don't make no
jumping, the
damn
jumping,
sense
the
to
jumping, and do a
it.
trick, and then
Right.
the turn. And
Because it's designed to make you give up.
man, and that's what it is. It's a weeding out process. They
Right. It
make
said
you,
who the survival of the fittest.
you know,
What you
how bad do you
how
want?
bad do you want it? How bad do you need it? Right. It's designed to
you
make you
know,
quit.
how bad do you want it? So let's see. We're
Right.
talking about lesser known facts about lesser known facts about the white about Black history
Yes,
that
sir.
need to be celebrated
Yeah.
all year long, including the first performance of a Black woman, Maria Salika
My first ever heard
Williams.
of that though, but
I
I'm glad
know,
to
I
hear it.
know. Born a slave, George Washington Johnson became the first of African American to make a commercial record after he was discovered as a street performer in 1890. First,
Okay.
first dude to get signed.
I heard you, man. First rapper.
I'm telling you,
The first rapper.
it goes a long way. We've been doing it since 1890, y'all. Standing
Yeah,
out on
hip
the corner,
hop.
showing that we can do, hoping somebody come along and see us like, hey, you sound pretty good. And in 1890, George Washington happens to be like a real common name for black men back in the day, especially
Someone made a
slave days.
statement with that. There was a statement with that name because it was a white dude named George Washington
Yeah,
too.
the
And
president. They
right, I
said George
never heard
Washington
of
had a
it.
whole bunch of slave children and all that good stuff, and him, Thomas Jefferson. Even though they call themselves being they call themselves treating their slaves fairly and humanely and all that. There wasn't no whippings and beatings and all that, but you were still slaves. You know what I mean? They were still having sex with them. So it's just you can color it and put icing on it, but it's still a pig. You know what I mean? You can't. You can what they say. You put earrings on a pig, you can't call it a purse or whatever the saying is. It's still messed up. You know what I mean? So just there's a whole bunch of dudes that was
Oh,
out there
but
named
yeah,
George
man. Nah,
Washington
George Washington.
something, George Washington
Right.
Carver, George Washington Johnson, George Washington Walker,
Mm, mm, mm.
a whole bunch of them. But this one, George Washington Johnson, he was the first African American to make a commercial record after being
Wow.
discovered in 1890. Said his contributions to the music industry have been mostly ignored, according to the NPR.org. He said the Library of Congress is now recognizing George W. Johnson's contributions to music. Last week, the Laughing Song was added to the National Recording Registry.
That's awesome, man. That I found something else out new.
I'm
But
telling
see,
you.
our history was in front of us and they took it away from us and they secluded from us.
I mean, but you
And
that's one
it's
of the main tactics of it. You separate culture, people from their history, and that's
mhm.
been those are tactics that go with
Like I
Romans,
said,
the
they
Greeks.
found that
You separate those people from their history and make their history yours,
your
and you blend it.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
easy to control them,
They
and
easy to
what I mean.
control and manipulate, right.
That's all it was.
Right.
So it's just a slave tactic that's been practiced way back
Oh,
then,
Willie Lynch.
not
Okay.
letting us know about our history. But I mean, we do have an opportunity now, especially in this digital age
Hmm.
of information, to
To research a lot of things ourselves,
we just
right.
got to make people interested in knowing
Hmm.
about the lesser stuff, and not just a whole bunch of people from the 1800s that just did stuff back in the day that don't have anything to do with what you're going through now. No,
Hmm.
these are people whose fight
Contributions and things, right.
contributions are still affecting people today. If it
Right.
hadn't been for them, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing right now.
Right.
Today, it's not something that they did that was just in a bubble back in the day in the 1800s, ran
Hmm.
away, blah blah blah. No, these are people that did things that are still being appreciated by people of color today. I.e., the first dude to ever get signed to a music.
Who's you signed to, Death Row?
Oh my God, Plantation Records or something. Oh, here we go. Here we
Nah,
go.
man, I'm good, Oh man.
Say soundbite of the laughing song. It said the registry preserves audio that is quote culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant, and there are now 400 pieces of audio in its collection. It said Tim Brooks
Wow.
is the author of Lost Sounds, Blacks, and the Birth of the Recording Industry, and he told us why "Laughing Song" by George W. Johnson is now drawing attention. So if you want to check that out, he was the first one to get signed, George Washington Johnson, in 1890.
That's a
I said,
strong name
I
too.
know,
Ain't
right?
it? George Washington Johnson.
See, but it didn't say what label or if they had any kind of
Yeah, you said
if
Grand
that was a
Pappy.
label. But I guess
Man.
a label probably wasn't a thing back then. You know, what I mean, you
Yeah,
just
it is. You just record it, press, and they play it,
and sell it, or
and sell
whatever.
it.
You when
Right.
you go out and hit the road, and you can
We
watch
gonna
the black
sing
guy,
it.
watch the colored dude play
Yeah, I heard it.
watch the Negro perform for 5 cents. I'm telling you, that was an expensive concert back in 1890. You want to play 5 cents to see a black guy perform? Oh
Man,
man, he got signed. So big up to George Washington Johnson. First one to get signed for all you independent artists out there that just get a little frustrated, thinking nobody's ever gonna discover you. My man was
that
a
man was a
slave
slave,
playing
boy.
on the street corner.
I
We
heard
got
that.
YouTube, TikTok,
Yeah,
Instagram. You got
he
a
was a
million ways.
slave.
You got Live 99 out here, website. You got all kind of places now to get your music heard and get some exposure out here. We trying to make it here easier, a little bit easier here in the
Right.
tri-state. So just keep keep the
Keep
faith.
pushing.
You know what I mean? Right. Keep pushing.
Keep
Especially
pushing.
like if you signed up for that 18 and over talent competition coming up. I mean, we should have had a whole bunch of people signing
Lined
up for that,
up.
just lined
Right.
up for
Right
that one.
about time.
So we'll see
Right.
how it turns out, but we're gonna try to keep that spark alive. But big ups to George Washington Johnson, being the first born a slave, died a recording star, a
Mm.
record star. I don't know what kind of music he sang. I guess it was blues music. That's
Back then, there was mostly blues or
probably
the
some gospel. You know what I mean? He's something that the white people would,
Delta
be
blues,
more,
things of that
yeah,
nature.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Say, Ethel Waters became the first black performer to appear on TV after her one night variety special, The Ethel Waters Show, was aired on NBC in 1939.
Wow.
I didn't know that one. Uh, let's check it out and say, and this is according to the AAREG registry .org. It say on this date in 1939, the Ethel Waters Show, a variety special, appeared on NBC. Say the new medium at that time in development was called television.
Mm.
So on the Ethel Waters Show, along with black actresses Freddie Washington and Georgette Harvey, they performed a dramatic sequence from her hit play Mamba's Daughters, and also appearing in various skits were actors Philip Loeb and Joey Faye. Say Walters Midway, in what would be a long, turbulent, and illustrious career, became the first African American to star in her own program on television. And Ethel Waters would return to television 11 years later as the star of Beulah.
Dula.
So that was like 1951, 52, I guess. And she started in 39, and
Don't
11
ring a
years
bell.
after that, she did Beulah. Have you ever heard of that show, Beulah?
No.
Because I know you like to watch the
I like
old
to
school.
watch the old school shows
That's probably a little
anyway,
bit too
but
old school,
yeah, a little
right?
too late for me, but that's before Andy Griffin.
And so as such, she would find herself saddled with a role that of a warm-hearted maid that misused her talents and more often than not distressed the actress herself, but her very presence led the way for everything of color to come over the next half century on television. So she
Mm.
was the first black woman to get her own show, first black person, period.
But sad part about it that you're right, man. This stuff should be taught all year long. But again, they're trying to teach now in school. Know what?
Say again, the critical race theory, is that what you
Yeah,
talking about?
exactly right. They're
I mean,
trying to,
everything's trying to
man,
get
still trying to
whitewashed. They
race
trying to whitewash
wipe under the
everything. Do you
rug.
remember that movie, Gods of Egypt? Did you ever watch that?
If I did, it's been a while back.
It had your man,
Yeah, Pegasus in it.
No, it was about the Egyptian gods, but the
Yeah,
people
I
were
don't
in an
remember. I never
uproar
watched it.
where that it was all white cast except for Thoth, the black god of the god of knowledge and wisdom and
Hmm.
writing. He was the only person of color depicted as an Egyptian god, and people were mad that they were, had black people, like
Right.
worshiping white gods. When all
Right.
of the drawings on their walls and paintings and stuff showed them as
As
darker colored
darker color
skin, taller
individuals. Right.
people.
Correct.
What I mean, they worship.
Hmm.
So the whitewashing is
Right. The
it's still
whitewashing
prevalent.
Hollywood. Right. It's still there.
So we'll say so. She was the first. Ethel Waters was the first black person is seen on an American television show on NBC back in 1939. Like I say, I'm
Right.
a radio and television major. That's what I
Right.
went to the
And you never knew
university.
nothing about it, huh?
Never knew that. We
Right.
learned about how Marconi and Edison fought over the radio and watched a couple other TV shows and learned about that the first radio broadcast was
Hmm.
made and the first television broadcast was made. But it was never any even in black in the history classes it was never taught of we
That
didn't
black
break
that
into
we
that
broke into the
industry.
industry. And see, there'd be a lot more kids, a lot more individuals that may be motivated to go in those fields if things like that were taught really in school.
But I think a lot of that stuff also starts at home. What I mean? I think we
Right.
got to, especially being a parent of four boys
Hmm.
myself, I had to find that balance of, providing for your family. I know everybody got to work, everybody got to do their thing, but you still got to be there to help the kids learn and, do
Right.
their school assignments.
Hmm.
Don't leave it up to somebody else to teach your kids something you
Kids are
did.
how to
'Cause
do.
kids learn at home first. If they
Right.
don't get the learning habits, if you so busy going out to work, like I say, I'm not taking away from any single parent or any busy parent out there that needs help to doing what they do. But if a kid is not getting the help and the support at home and the structure at home, it's only so much a teacher can do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you're not trying to give your kids a strong background in your black history and what the
Hmm.
struggles of your people come from, letting them know who their grandparents are, great grandparents are, about how we had to fight for voting rights. Like I took all my kids.
Right.
Well, I took my second oldest boy when he was eligible to vote. Down there, my junior is now 18. He's now eligible to
Right.
vote. So when the voting time come around, I want to take him down for his first time to be able to cast a vote. But I think that's one of the things that I was trying to instill in him that your power of your vote is very important. There were people that died for the power of what
Hmm.
you're doing right now. That fought. They got a dog sicked on them. They got
But
water
what happens though
hoses.
when you have a candidate that you don't totally agree with? Then you're forced to make a decision that makes no
But
sense.
that's what it is. It's choice. I mean, if you don't, you if the choices are chicken pox and measles, you know what I mean? Just either you run yourself, become a candidate. If you know the standard, if you don't have a candidate out there that's not saying what you want to say, you either have the choice of not voting, which I wouldn't recommend, picking
Right.
the lesser of the two evils, which I would kind of recommend. Like getting out there and running, being a candidate yourself. That's what these people like Alexandria Ocasio Cortez and Stacey Abrams. Her sister is up for a nomination to the Supreme Court
Hmm.
now. You know what I mean? So I mean, you gotta be able to make that stand and be able to educate yourself and be willing to make that move and make that change.
Right.
But that vote, as I say, goes back to the history. We got to teach our kids about why they're doing the things that they're doing and why they
Boy, they better
fought
take
for.
their sister through some trouble, man.
Man, look,
You thought. I've been thinking about that as you said that, man. The panel of women, they're well qualified,
yeah.
but they're gonna take them through some unnecessary trial and tribulation,
Oh yeah,
man.
it's not gonna be no easy thing like they did Brett Kavanaugh and the
Or the
other.
other lady,
Yeah, man,
what
no,
is her
no,
name?
no, no. They about to go through
No,
the
man, they ready to
grinder.
go through the
They about to
grinder,
go through the
man.
grinder though, for real, for real. So we'll see what it turns out to.
Yeah,
It's Black History Month, and we're trying to get some lesser known figures the
right,
recognition that they so respectfully deserve. Because without them,
right,
a lot of things that we take for granted today, i.e., seeing black people on television. You know what I mean?
right.
Just seeing them on TV, period, other let alone seeing them in doing slave
Doing
roles or
slave roles
maid
and then
roles,
right.
because that's what she started. And her maid role was her first appearance on,
Yeah, so
got the
basically she
little TV
started
show, in
right.
her own
Hazel.
TV show. No, what was it? Matilda, what was it? Oh, what was the name of it again? It was
Hazel.
uh, where'd he go? First black, was it Matilda? What did she call herself? Beulah.
Yeah, I said
I
Hazel.
knew it was some old
You,
19,
you,
30,
you
40
lucky.
ass name, 30, 40 type name. So we'll see what we got next here. Uh, oh, we talked about that one, the first one to appear uh, at the White House.
Hmm.
So okay, so it was just some lesser known figures that we'll cover some more during the rest of the month. You
Yes,
know what I
sir.
mean? Like I say, we
Right.
want to thank everybody, for coming out and supporting the NAACP talent competition. If you know some Black History contributors,
Hmm.
that don't get talked about the way that they need to be talked about, and you want us to talk about it here on the show, let us know in our Facebook page, facebook.com/live999 WJCB, about any Black History figure, any
Hmm.
significant figure of Black America. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Past, present, or future, making future
Yes.
contributions like
Right.
Kanye West wants to talk about now.
Man,
Anybody trying
say
to
what you
build the
want.
next super chip, make the next car? 'Cause, they got a nice car manufacturing thing going down in Africa right now. I
Hmm.
don't know if it's gonna come to America, but
They
I'm
tax it too much.
I'm trying to see. But are there any black-owned car manufacturers in America?
None.
None.
Back in the
Okay.
day, though, we had them.
Yeah, yeah, but it really, they
They
shut them
really
down.
they took the
Ford
patents
and
down
oh, they shut
and
all
all that
that
old mess. Yeah.
down. So it's Black History Month on Urban Revolution Radio, your morning show with your boy Nino and your man D Hicks, broadcasting live from the Acceptance Insurance Studios.